actually went ahead and I already gave these animals grain. You can take a look inside the grain bins, and you can actually inside the feed bins, and you'll see that there's grain in the bins. And when I opened the door, oh, actually the animals are on their way over here now. But you know, I want to start off the whole thing with I'm gonna give. I got some bad news today. I got some bad news. The animal, when I first, you know, a month ago when I brought home these animals, I said that I brought home two really skinny animals. I brought home two animals that were just bone thin, and one of them I got for very cheap. The bigger one I got for very cheap. And well, she actually ended up dying this morning. That animal actually ended up dying this morning, and that animal actually got another animal sick. I'm pretty sure I got another animal that's sick over there that has the same thing that she does, or that she did, and I don't think he's gonna make it either. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I mean, I've always said that lying to yourself is not a solution for anything. All right, you know, you're gonna see, you know, and at the end of the day, I live my life like this. You know, it just is what it is, right? I'm not a saint. You know, I don't lie to myself. All right, lying to yourself is not going to solve anything. All right, and so me, I don't lie to myself. I don't think that this animal's gonna make it. Okay, I had one animal drop dead this morning. She died this morning, and it's kind of strange because the whole situation is that this animal was legitimately eating so much that I thought she was gonna bloat to death. Honestly, I thought she was gonna bloat to death because she was eating so much, and you know, she was doing completely fine until about well, I thought she was doing completely fine until about 2 or 3 days ago, and then I wake up, or last night I actually had put her in the preconditioning pen because she was huffing and puffing, and I wasn't sure why that was going on, and so I put her in the preconditioning pen, and I take a look out here this morning, and she's actually dead. And so, but this is a, you know, and I talked about this in the past. This is a very realistic look, right? I'm not, you know, I'm just gonna be honest about it. You know, I actually bought this animal as an animal that had problems. I had gotten her for very cheap. I'm not, I'm not lying about it, right? I'm just gonna be honest about it. You know, I got her for very cheap. When I first brought her in, I just thought that she was very thin. She was eating a lot. She was eating so much that I actually thought she was gonna bloat to death. And so, you know, I was like, oh, maybe she just needs to put on some weight. And then a month later, you know, I'm not sure what happened, but she dropped dead. I'm not, you know, I don't want to, you know, but she did, you know, that's almost what it feels like, because it's like she was doing completely okay until about maybe about last night, or maybe about a day ago. She was actually eating so much that that she was bloating. She was legitimately eating so much she was bloating, and then I wake up this morning, I take a look outside, and she's dead on the ground. And I have another animal that's sick, and I'm pretty sure that he has what she had, and I don't think he's gonna make it. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I don't think he's gonna make it. I don't think he's gonna make it. I gave him a shot of florfenicol, and I gave him a shot of enrofloxacin, and he's still not snapped out of it. I think his rumen's shut down. I think his rumen has shut down, and he's not digesting food properly, and I don't think he's gonna make it. And so I'm just taking a look at it for what it is, and so that's the whole situation. And so you know, and I figured I'm gonna be honest about it. There was zero reason to lie about it. You know, I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm just gonna be honest about it. And then you know, I've always said that when it comes to losing an animal, the financial whatever, the financials don't matter. The financials don't matter. You know, I'm more about, you know, it's sad when I lose an animal. That's more what it is for me. The money is irrelevant. All right, because like let's just legitimately look at it, right? I mean, like, let's look at it. You know, I would anticipate that when I sell my, you know, I'm selling 8 animals this month. I was originally going to sell 7, but I sold an extra one because that extra one that I had horns on her, and she kept sticking her horns in my back, and I was concerned that she was going to injure me, so I went ahead and just sold her. And so I ended up selling 8. All right, and she did hit the scale very light. And so when you know, these 8 animals that I've sold, I'll probably make enough money to buy about 14 animals. Okay, I'll probably make enough money to buy about 14 animals. All right, and I lost 3, so I'm still net positive 3 animals. And if if you want to think about it in terms of money, you know, if I took a look at my herd and I said I'm going to liquidate 3 animals, You know, that's about 5 grand. I still made about 5 grand, right? I'm still net positive about 5 grand. The money is irrelevant. All right, the money is irrelevant. I don't care about the money. I'm not saying I don't care about the money, but the money is irrelevant. All right, I'm still in the net positive. And if you actually take a look at my overall business plan, and you know, the thing about this right now is that I'm barely feeding, I'm barely feeding maybe about 10 buckets of grain a day. I'm barely feeding about 10 buckets of grain a day. I would say that the animals are actually getting about 50% of their diet in grass. I actually gave these animals the feed, and they're slowly just walking up here, and they're not even stuffing their face. They're barely nibbling at it. And so these animals, they're barely eating 10 buckets of grain a day. You know, I actually got myself a lease property, and with the profits that I made last month, I actually took that money and fertilized the new lease property, right? And and I'm going to be taking effectively I'll be taking all of these animals to the lease property within the next 2 weeks. You know, I have about 25 animals back here, something like that, 23 animals back here. All of these animals will be going over to the lease property, and when they go over to the lease property, they'll be eating grass. All right, I'll have them on grass. The field has common Bermuda on it. I'm pretty sure it's common Bermuda, and I've already fertilized it. And that common Bermuda, the whole thing about common Bermuda grass is that it actually spreads via its root material. It will actually propagate itself. And so if you just take care of the grass does not need to go to seed. All right, the grass will actually propagate itself even when it's growing vegetatively. And so I don't, as long as I take care of the grass will actually spread on its own. Is it going to be the highest biomass accumulation grass? No, it's not. Is it going to be the best feed values? No, it's not. But at the end of the day, it's going to be perfectly fine. If I'm running, I'll have maybe 1 animal per 2 acres, right? I mean, 1 animal is not going to eat 2 acres of grass. All right, that's not how it, they're not, when the grass is being grown properly, even if it's just something like a common Bermuda grass, 1 animal will not eat 2 acres of grass. It is not physically possible. All right, it is not physically possible. 2 acres of grass is, okay, think about it like this. 2 acres of decently well-grown grass is about 10 bales of hay. It is about 8 bales of hay. If you have 2 acres of decently well-grown grass, you will pull about 8 to 10 bales of hay off of that grass. And that grass is continuously growing. 1 animal is not going to eat 8 to 10 bales of hay. Think about it like that. If you grow hay, decently well, you'll harvest at least 5 bales off of 2 acres at least. All right, 1 animal is not going to eat, and you'll get 2 to 3 cuttings a year. So that 1 acre of grass, and if you actually plant a winter grass, right? You're not just baling hay in the summer. You'll actually get another 2 cuttings of hay. All right, granted that, it's not, maybe you cut silage, right? I mean, in the winter, when it's too cold and you can't dry hay, you can cut silage. And then you'll get another, you'll get another 3, 4, 5 bales, right? 2 or 3 more times. So imagine that if you're going to cut 5 bales of hay per acre, 4 bales of hay per acre, 8 times a year, not 8 times, let's just say 5 times a year. That's 20 bales of hay that each acre is growing. 1 animal is not going to eat 20 bales of hay. All right, that's not how it works. So think about it in terms of a logical situation, right? If I plant winter grass, which I do, right? I plant winter forage, right? I plant winter wheat, right? And and the grass that's growing on the field right now is a common Bermuda grass, and common Bermuda grass grows well when it's hot outside, and it will actually propagate itself. I don't need to plant anything, and even when it's growing vegetatively, the grass will still spread. Right, and I fertilized the grass properly, right? I've walked the field and I've diagnosed the nutrients, and I've utilized a proper fertilizer, right? I mean, I'm gonna have decently good biomass accumulation, and it's in the spring. I can reapply fertilizer practically 3 or 4 times a month whenever I need to. I'll collect information and then go accordingly, right? Very simple. But think about it like that. One acre of decently well-grown grass will produce about 3 to 5 bales of hay. And if you're in a situation where you're also planting a winter grass, you can cut another 3 to 5 bales bales of hay. Granted that you're probably going to be growing silage, you're probably going to be rolling it up as silage. You can do that another 2 or 3 times. And so, if you think about it in terms of an annual forage production, I mean, 1 acre of decently well-grown grass will grow, probably, somewhere around 20 bales of hay a year. All right, realistically, it'll grow about 20 bales of hay a year. I mean, if you think about, let's talk about it. Let's just lowball it. Three bales. Let's say that, 3 bales is kind of pathetic. All right, I mean, well, it's not pathetic. I mean, if it was like a major drought, like if you legitimately were in a severe drought situation, then maybe you get 3 bales of hay and you cut it twice. But let's think about it in terms of those situations. Let's say that there was a major drought. You only got 3 bales of hay per acre, and you got 2 cuttings in the summer, and then you got 2 cuttings in the winter. You planted the grass, and then you got another 2 cuttings in the winter, and you got 3 bales of hay every single time that you cut that hay. So you cut the hay 4 times and you got 3 bales. That's 12 bales of hay. That's 12 bales of hay that you're going to grow per acre. And that would be in like a worst case scenario. There was a drought, right? There was a drought, and you didn't get very many bales per acre. That would, that would be like the worst case scenario. You would get about 12 bales per acre. And one animal is not eating 12 bales of hay. That's not how it works. All right, I raise these animals, until they're about 500 pounds here, and then I'm gonna take these animals over to the lease property, and then I've already said that I'm gonna raise the market target weight to 800, right? I'm raising the target weight for market up to 800. Right now, the target weight is 650. I'm going to 800. Why am I going to 800? Because of, if I grow the grass, that's a very realistic way to look at it, right? I mean, I can, but me, in terms of just a reality situation, if I had a decent year, if the weather was not horrible, if the weather was, whatever, if the weather was just decent, I would grow more than 3 bales per acre, okay? And I would get more than 4 cuttings. That, I would be ashamed of myself if I only got 3 bales per acre. All right, it would be like, what the heck was I doing all year, right? I mean, was I even collecting information? Was I even diagnosing the mineral deficiencies? Was I just sitting there doing nothing, right? I would be ashamed of myself. All right, I'm not, if the weather is decent, I am gonna grow more than 3 bales per acre. I may even grow like 5 bales an acre. I may legitimately double that. All right, and and so but let's say in a worst case scenario, there was a horrible drought, and whatever, and et cetera, and I only managed to grow 3 bales an acre. I did well, and I still only managed to grow 3 bales an acre, and I cut that 4 times. That's still 12 bales an acre. All right, that's still 12 bales an acre a year. One animal is not going to eat 12 bales of hay. And then if you think about it in terms of a ratio, I have 2 acres per animal. One animal is not going to eat 24 bales of hay. That's ridiculous. That's not how it works. All right, and that's another very realistic way to look at it. And when I grow grass, it is borderline. I mean, it is very cheap. It is very cheap. I don't know how else to put that other than to, I would say that, and just to put things in perspective, the amount of feed that these animals are eating is actually gone down substantially. I mean, I would say that they're only eating about half. And the grass has just now gone about up to the bottom of my ankle. The grass is going to grow significantly. All right, this is the season where I grow grass. The grass grows proportionally, right? I talk about this all the time. Grass grows proportionately. If you have a larger, it's more realistic to think about the growth of grass as a proportion than it is as a set amount. Think about it in terms of the grass will grow 25% more every single day. That's a more realistic way of looking at it. The grass will grow a certain percentage every single day. That's more of a realistic way to look at it. All right, and so if I have a grass that is up to the bottom of my ankles, that grass will accumulate more biomass than the grass that is below my ankle. All right, because the grass is 50% larger already, and it's going to accumulate a compounding growth amount of growth on top of that, on top of the biomass that it has already accumulated. And so this grass is actually going to grow faster. All right, this grass is actually going to accumulate more biomass per day, per week, granted that the weather conditions are somewhat met. All right, so I would actually say that the amount of grass that I'm growing is actually going to go up significantly. And the animals have already started consuming significantly less feed. I would say that they're eating about half as much. And I'm going to be increasing the target market weight, right? And I'm going to do it very efficiently, right? I'm going to do it very efficiently. And if you think about it, you know, I'm going to have only about 1 animal per 2 acres. Maybe, you know, when I'm at maximum stocking density, maybe I'll have 1 animal per 1.5 acres. And if you think about it in terms of the amount of feed that I am producing per animal, that would be like each animal is going to have access to about 20 bales of hay. Right, that's another way. And one animal is not going to eat 20 bales of hay. All right, that's not how it works. And I would honestly anticipate that, you know, it's like, let's say I have my animals at 500 pounds here, and I take them over to the lease property, and I leave them on the lease property. It'll probably take me 4 months to get them from 500 to 800. It'll probably take me 4 months. All right, you know, and then I'll liquidate at 800. And so, you know, and then over here, I'll raise them from about 200 up to about 500. And that will take me about, maybe about, you know, I don't know, 3-4 months, something like that. You know, I would anticipate that you know, but also if I liquidate at 800, I will make more money per animal. And so right now, every time I liquidate 1 animal, I make enough money to buy about 1.7 animals, something like that. I make enough money to buy about 1.7 animals, right? Because I have other expenses, right? All right, I have other expenses. I need to pay for antibiotics. I need to pay for, you know, et cetera, et cetera. There are things that I need to pay for. So every time I liquidate 1 animal, I effectively make enough money to buy about 1.7 animals. All right, and so, you know, but when I raise the market weight up to 800, I will actually make enough money to buy 2 animals every time I liquidate 1 animal. And so, you know that's going to be very good, and I can actually do that very efficiently by growing the grass. All right, you know, and so, you know, let me talk about my balance sheet today, because I don't think that this other, you know, I think that this animal's gonna die. Okay, I'm doing everything that I can for this animal. I've already given him a shot of enrofloxacin, and I gave him a shot of fluorphenicol, and I gave him a dose of Banamine, and he's still not snapping out of it. And I took a look at him yesterday, and I think his rumen has shut down. I think his rumen shut down. And if their rumen shuts down, I mean, it's very difficult to turn the animal around once their rumen shuts down. Okay, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to turn the animal around after that point. And I don't think he's gonna make it either. And I also had that 1 animal die from bloating on the grass earlier this month, right? I don't know if it was you know, end of last month, something like that. So I have 3, you know, and let me tell you, well, I will tell you how I, you know, deal with, you know, this in terms of a numerical sense. You know, how do I deal, you know, because, you know, I've always said that life is not a journey. All right, life is not a journey. Life is not an adventure. I mean, you're going to have hardship. I mean, there is going to be hardship. I mean, there is no going around that. I mean, no one cares about your Disneyland adventure, okay? Die poor, have fun. All right, you know, you're going to have to learn how to deal with hardship. And this is how I deal with this situation. I will give you my answer. Nobody cares about an opinion, right? I will give you my answer. All right, so in this situation that I'm in right now, I'm going to liquidate about 8 animals this month, right? I have 8 animals, right? You know, my animals, they're good to go. You know, I got 4 good steers that are ready to go to market, right? And these animals, and I actually think that this animal right here, the animal that I brought home, you know, he's probably putting on close to 4 pounds a day. I mean, he is putting on weight very quickly. He is eating a lot, and he is not bloating at all. So that's very good. You know, and I would say that within about 2 months, he's going to be about, it's not even going to take me 2 months to have this animal at 800 pounds. It'll probably take me less than a month and a half. And, you know, and I bought him for $1,088. And, you know, it might only take me a month and a half, and he'll probably be about 800 pounds. He eats a lot. he eats a lot, and he does not bloat at all. So that's very good. He does not have any bloating issues, and he is eating a lot. And if you actually take a look at the side of his body, you can actually already tell that his ribs are starting to get covered up already. I mean, you know, you can't count the ribs so clearly anymore. I'm telling you that this one, he is eating a lot. I mean, he eats a lot. I mean, he eats nonstop, and he doesn't bloat. So I'm like, you know, this animal is probably putting on closer to 4 or 5 pounds a day. He probably is. All right, you know, he eats a lot, and when I actually look at the side of his body, his ribs are actually already starting to get covered up. So that's very good. That's very good. He's gonna put on the weight very quickly. He's probably got good, you know, he's gonna gain very quickly. And I would say that this animal is going to be about 800 pounds here, and it probably won't even take me 75 days to get that animal to 800 pounds. And he started at 650. So I think that he'll put on the 150 pounds in about maybe about 60 days, maybe about you know, 50 days. Wait, let me think about that. If he puts on 5 pounds a day, that would be 30 days. That would be a month, but I don't think he's gonna put on 5 pounds a day. I think it's gonna take about 40 days. I think he's gonna put on closer to 4 pounds a day. The smaller animals are probably putting on closer to about 3 or 3 1/4. And so I think he's probably putting on about 4, maybe a little bit more. And you know, within about 40 days, I think that he'll actually be about 800 pounds. His ribs are already starting to cover up. He's only been here for 4 days, and I would say he's probably put on 20 pounds in those 4 days. He eats a lot. I mean, he eats nonstop, and he doesn't bloat. So very, very good situation for me. He is not bloating at all, and he eats a lot. So that's very good. You know, that's very good. And so, you know, but this situation, when I take a look at it, you know, in terms of a financial sense, it doesn't. The money is negligible. The money does not matter. If I dip into the negative, I mean, but you know, I've already talked about how ridiculous of an idea it is to think of me dipping into the negative. Because, you know, I also have these animals here, right? You know, I call this the stabilized herd. These animals, they are still appreciating. I would anticipate that these animals appreciate for probably 4 months. All right, and when they appreciate, they produce a net positive value. But let's not even talk about these animals, right? Let's just talk about the balance sheet as it is right now. I anticipate that, you know, I would liquidate another 4 animals over the course of this month. I will liquidate another 4 animals. And they're gonna hit the scale at about 650. You know, that means I liquidate 8 animals, and when with those 8 animals, I'll probably make enough money to buy 14. I lost 3, so that means that, I think I'm gonna lose a 3rd one. I don't think you're gonna make it, and so that still leaves me with 11 animals. I'm still net positive 3 animals, right? Then it doesn't. Then the financials no longer matter. Now what do I think about? Well, I'm gonna distribute the cost of the animals over the rest of my herd. That's how I'm gonna do it. All right. So now, you know, but here's the thing, is that if I did not have the lease property, and I did not, because in my current situation, I have already decided that I am going to increase the target market weight from 650 to 800. I've already decided on that, right? I'm going to do it very efficiently as well by growing my own grass. All right, that's been the plan, and you know, before this happened, but if I did not have the lease property, and I was in this situation, I would consider taking my animals up to 675, 700. So I would distribute the cost of the death loss over the rest of my animals. So instead of taking the market weight, instead of taking the animals to 650, I would consider taking the animals to 675. I would consider taking the animals to 700, but that would be a little bit drastic, because at the end of the day, when I take a look at it, I'm still in the net positive, right? Let's just think about it from an objective lens. And this is what I mean by, when I lose an animal, the money is negligible. Granted that I don't lose like 75% of my animals. All right, if I lose 75% of my animals, and granted that I'm not leveraged to the eyeballs, I talk about this all the time. If half the equity of the herd is mine, then if half of the herd equity is mine, and I have half of it in terms of a loan, I would have to lose something like 70% of my animals to even dip into the negative, right? And that's the whole idea of one-to-one leverage. If I have one-to-one leverage, that means half of the animal's equity is mine. Half of the animal's equity belongs to me. So in this situation, I would have to lose like 75% of my animals for even me to start dipping into the negative, right? It's just through an objective lens. And, but the whole thing about this is that when I lose an animal, the money is already negligible, okay? The money is negligible. I make a boatload of money. I don't even know how much money I make. I don't even know. I make a lot. The money is negligible. All right, I'm more, it's more what, I feel more about losing the animal than I do about the money. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the money. I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't care. I'm going to say I don't care about the money in this situation. I'm not saying I don't care about money. Do I care about money so much I'm going to sell my soul to the devil to have money? No, I'm not. But, in this situation, I don't care about the money. In this situation, the money is negligible. Am I in the negative? No, I'm not in the negative. I'm even in a situation where I've already been looking into growing my business. I've already found a way to do it very efficiently, etc., etc. The money is negligible. All right, I'm still in the net positive. It doesn't matter. All right, but this animal, and I'll just straight honest to God, because God knows it. At the end of the day, God knows it. It just is what it is. This animal that died this morning, I actually got her for very cheap. I got her for cheap, and when I bought her, I got her for cheap because she was a sick animal. And so, I took a look at the situation this morning, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy sick animals. Sometimes, because I'll look at the animal and I think I can turn this animal around. I think I can. Just got to give this animal some shots, and she'll, they'll get squared away, and then they end up getting another animal sick, and I don't, and then now I lost 2 animals, right? Trying to save, So I'm not going to. I'm going to stop buying sick animals. Even if they're cheap, even if I think that I can fix them up, I'm not going to do it. And but honest to God, this animal, when I had purchased her, she was already sick, and she was bloating a lot. And I'm still glad that everything happened that happened. I'm still happy, but I'm not upset about anything. At the end of the day, it's just trials and tribulations, right? I mean, there is no easy life. I mean, if you live your life looking for the easy way out, you're effectively gonna be a bum. All right, there is no easy way out. I mean, life is hard. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you. Life is not Disneyland, okay? It's not a mystical, magical adventure. All right, but this is how I deal with the problem. All right, in terms of a financial sense, do I feel bad about it? I mean, yeah, I mean, it does suck to lose an animal, right? And it does suck to have that animal get another animal sick, and now I think I'm going to lose 2 animals, right? That does suck. It does. It's a horrible feeling, and having an animal bloat to death on the grass, that's also a horrible feeling too, right? I mean, it's a horrible feeling. In terms of financials, in terms of money, it does not matter. In terms of money, it does not matter. It's just kind of a horrible feeling. At the end of the day, it's all for the better good, though. I mean, I'll take a look at it and then I'll figure it out, right? I'll take a look at it and I'll figure it out. I'm gonna stop buying sick animals. I don't think that this animal's gonna make it. The sick one that I have, I don't think he's gonna make it. I think his rumen has shut down, and that's very bad. If his rumen was still active, he could turn himself around, but I don't think he's gonna make it, okay? And but in terms of a financial sense, if we take a look at the overall financials, even as it is right now, but if this situation had happened and I did not have the lease property, right? I got this lease property and I'm gonna grow my business, right? I'm already on track to grow my business. I've already decided that I'm going to increase the market target weight, etc., right? I've already decided this, right? And so, but if I did not have that the lease property, if I did not have the lease property and I was still on this 10.5 acre field and this exact situation happened to me, I would distribute the cost of the 3 animals over the rest of my animals. So I would say, okay, for me to make my money back for this loss, I will need to put on an extra 25 pounds per animal, right? I have 32 animals. I have 31 animals. I will need to put on an extra 25 pounds per animal. I will need to put on an extra 50 pounds per animal. And then I'll crunch the numbers. Okay, if I put on an extra 50 pounds per animal, and let's say I net $1.50 and I have 31 animals, that's 1,500 pounds, right? And so for that 1,500 pounds, you know, for that extra 1,500 pounds of gain, I will make whatever. I will make an extra whatever, right? You know, whatever, $2,500, right? Boom. That's how I would do it. But in this situation that I'm in right now, I mean, you know, I've made several very good investments, right? I've made, I took my profits from my farm last month. I actually paid off all of my grain debt, and I paid off all of my grain debt. I bought more grain, and I purchased enough fertilizer to cover the 40-acre field. That's what I did with the money that I made last month, and so I went ahead and did that. You know, I'll be taking, the animals are eating significantly less, right? The animals are eating significantly less. And, you know, when I crunch the numbers, I mean, it's like, you know, I'm still in the net positive. I'm still in the net positive. You know, in terms of a financial sense, it does not matter to me. I'm still in the net positive, and I'm actually already in the process of increasing the average weight of the market target weight. I'm already in the process of doing it, and I have a very reasonable idea of how I'm going to do it, right? It's not some magical adventure, right? It's not like, oh my God, well, if I throw a Hail Mary into the middle of nowhere and then I just go on a magical journey, everything's going to... It's not like that. How am I going to do it, right? I've walked across the field of my lease property. I've taken a look at the natural vegetation. I have determined that there is a large population of common Bermuda grass. It is springtime. Here in about 3 months, it'll be summertime. And this common Bermuda grass, you know, effectively propagates itself. I utilized a properly diagnosed fertilizer ratio. I've utilized a proper fertilizer. I fertilized the field. The grass will spread on its own, right? The grass will spread on its own as it grows. And the biomass accumulation, when I take a look at it, even though it's not going to accumulate a large amount of biomass, when I take a look at how many animals I am going to have per acre, and then I determine the amount of feed that I will generate, you know, I have now reasonably come to the conclusion that this is a good opportunity, right? Do I think that one animal will eat 20 bales of hay by themselves? You know, and also think about it. I'm going to have, you know, even at maximum stocking density, I will have about 1 animal per 1.5 acres. So do I think that one animal is going to eat 30 bales of hay? Do I legitimately think that that's going to happen? No, I don't think, you know, but, you know, and then let's divide it by 3, right? Because I anticipate that each one of these animals are going to be on the field for 4 months, and there's 12 months in a year. So I take that 30 bales of hay, right? You know, do I think that an animal is going to eat 30? But, you know, let's divide it by 3. Do I think one animal is going to eat 10 bales of hay over the next 4 months? No, I don't. All right, no, I don't. I don't think that that's going to happen. All right, you know, that's a lot of food. All right, that's a lot. They're not going to eat. They're not going to eat. They're not going to eat that much. All right, you know, but wait, if I get 4 cuttings, you know, but, you know, if you're rolling silage or 4 cuttings and you get 3, you get 4. Wait, something ain't right. If I cut hay 4 times a year, and if the year is completely average, and I get 5 bales of hay, then that's 20 bales. Yeah, then that is correct. 20 bales an acre. And then you know, I grow, you know, and then I have 1.5 animals per acre, or I have 1 animal per 1.5 acres. That's 30 bales of hay. You know, divide that by 3, that's 10 bales. Do I think, you know, an animal, and you got to also understand that this grass, you know, it's not going to be like hay grass. The feed values of the grass are going to be something that I monitor very closely. All right, the big idea is that I'm looking to keep the feed values of the grass at a very reason, at a good level for the animals to effectively gain their weight. Right, the feed values of the grass changes as the grass develops. So do I think that an animal is going to eat 10 bales of hay over the next 4 months? Each animal is going to eat 10 bales of hay? No, I don't. All right, I don't think that, and if I do think that, then I can just go and supplement their feed with a little bit of grain. Very simple, right? Not difficult. I can just go into I can buy an auto feeder and et cetera, right? Not difficult. All right, and so, but I do have some bad news today. I got an animal that died. I think that animal got the other animal sick, got another animal sick, and I don't think that animal's gonna make it either. I did lose another animal bloating on the grass. And so when I take a look at the situation for what it is, I'm still in the net positive. The money does not matter. The money is negligible. I'm still in the net positive. I don't even need to take any leverage. All right, I don't even need to take, I'm still, in terms of money, I'm still in the net positive. I'm still drastically in the net positive. It doesn't matter, but it does suck when you lose an animal, okay? I mean, it does suck it sucks when I lose an animal. It sucks for me. All right, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is, and it will always happen. I don't know how else to put that. If you're in the cattle business, you're gonna see animals die. It happens. If I cut all of these animals loose and just let them out into the wild, guess what? A majority of them are gonna die. They're not gonna go on a trip to Disneyland. All right, there is a lot of benefit for having a human being take care of an animal. There is. All right, I give these animals, good solid meals every day. I give them access to clean water. I give them medication, right? I take care of the animals, right? There is a benefit for having human beings, look after animals, okay? If I cut all of these animals loose right now and just let them out into the wild, guess what? A majority of them are just gonna drop dead. They're not just gonna go walking off into Disneyland. That's not how it works. All right, if you legitimately think life is a journey and life is a Disneyland adventure, you're either very naive or you're dumb, or you're just a complete idiot. No, I'm not gonna say dumb because dumb is not accurate. You're an idiot. I don't know how if the world is not some, it's not some Disneyland adventure. Okay, it's not. If I cut all these animals loose, they're not going to go skipping off for a magical adventure. Okay, that's not how it works. All right, and it'll continue to happen, and it will continue to happen. And so it's very important, like if I'm gonna do this thing, that I show you how to deal with the downside too, in terms of a financial sense, right? In terms of a financial sense, it's very important that I discuss this idea as well. I take a look at my overall situation. I'm gonna be liquidating 8 animals. I'll make enough money to buy 14. One of the animals that I liquidated was very small, but I liquidated her because I thought she was going to be a danger to me, right? She had horns and she was jabbing them in my back, and when I wasn't paying attention, and I didn't want to be in a situation where I got injured because of that animal, and so I liquidated the animal early. Right, but even in this situation, I sold 8 animals and I made enough money to buy 14. I would estimate it's gonna be enough money to buy. I'll probably bring home about 14 animals this month. I lost 3. I'm still net positive 3 animals, and I still have the rest of these animals. And I've actually decided that with these animals, I'm actually gonna raise the target market weight from 650 to 800. And I'm gonna do that very efficiently by utilizing this lease property and growing grass. All right, I've already fertilized the grass. Things are, and so in terms of a financial sense, it doesn't matter. The financial sense, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter financially. I'm still in the net positive. It doesn't matter financially, but it does suck. All right, it does suck to lose animals, and I've decided that I'm gonna stop buying sick animals. Because I don't want to be in a situation where I buy a sick, and I talked about this, but the worst thing is that when it spreads. Like if you have a sick animal and that sick animal gets another animal sick for whatever reason, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the bacteria mutates, I don't know what happens, but if, for whatever reason, when that happens, the illness becomes almost untreatable. I don't know why, but that's almost always how it turns out. If the illness spreads, like if you like this is a very realistic situation. I brought home a sick animal. The animal was sick when I brought him home, and the illness has spread to another calf. That other calf, you're probably not going to be able to fix that calf up, okay? Probably not going to be able to fix that calf up. Probably not. All right, I gave him every antibiotic that I know. I gave him when they first got here, I gave him a shot of a macrolide. When I realized he was getting sick, I gave him a hefty dose of enrofloxacin. When I realized that the enrofloxacin was not working 48 hours later, 36 hours later, I gave him a shot of florfenicol. And the animal, as of today, it looks like the rumen is shutting down. The animal has not really, and I gave him a dose of Banamine. And the animal is still not turning around. I don't think that the animal's going to make it. All right, I'm just going to be honest about it. The animal's probably not going to make it. All right, and, that's the situation that's going on right now, okay? That's the reality of the situation. In a bigger, broader sense, the money is irrelevant. The money is irrelevant. I'm still in the net positive. Even when I don't consider the appraisal value of my stabilized herd, even when I don't do that, I'm still in the net positive. I'm still drastically in the net positive. The money is negligible. And think about it like this. I've already shown, think about it like this. Because if you add up the numbers for how much money I make on my farm, reasonably, we're talking about somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a month, right? That's what we're talking about. And I lost 3 animals. And those 3 animals were evaluated at probably about $2,500, maybe about $2,300. So if you subtract $2,300 from 15-20 grand, what do you get? You get 12,500 to about 15,000, right? Something like that. 17,500, 12,500 to 17,500. To me, the money, it doesn't matter. All right, the money's still negligible. It doesn't matter. Oh my God, I thought I was gonna make 15-20 grand, but I made 12,500, 17,000. I made 15 grand instead of 17,500. It doesn't matter. All right, the thing that sucks is losing the animal, okay? The money, because I think that, you're gonna see, if you legitimately get into this business, you're gonna see animals die. All right, and it's gonna suck. And you're gonna have to deal with it too. All right, you're gonna have to deal with it. All right, and in terms of a financial sense, this is how I deal with it. In terms of financials, it doesn't matter. I can just go and buy another animal. It doesn't matter. What sucks is that I lost this animal, right? And this animal got another animal sick. And I think that both of these, I think that one of the animals are already dead, and I think that I'm gonna lose another one. That's what sucks. Money, in terms of money, it's negligible. It doesn't matter. I'm still in the net positive. I've even been looking into growing my business, right? I'm already looking into growing my business. I have a very reasonable idea for how I'm going to do it. All right, I have a very reasonable idea for how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to throw a Hail Mary into the middle of nowhere. All right, this is, now it's time for my magical journey. I'm not going to do that. All right, I have a very reasonable idea for exactly how I'm going to do it. More or less how I'm going to do it, the direction that I need to go to get this done. I've already got started, and by this weekend I'll probably have 10 or 15 animals that I've already moved over to the lease property. I've already fertilized the grass. And so by about Sunday or Monday, I'll be taking about 10 or 15 of these animals over to the lease property. And I've increased the target market weight from 650 to 800. Later this month, here in about 2 weeks, I'll be liquidating another 4 animals. And these 4 animals, they're all 4 going to be steers. And I would say that they're going to hit the scale at about 650. And I'm going to make a good bit of money on them. I would say that in terms of the overall balance sheet situation, it would be like I liquidated 8 animals. I bought 14 and then I lost 3. So I'm still net positive 11 animals. And I'm not using any leverage right now. I'm not using any debt. All right, I'm not using any dead, and the amount of feed that the animals are eating is actually decreasing substantially every single day. As of today, I'm only feeding about 10 buckets a day, and the grass is actually growing substantially. All right, the weather conditions are going to be good, so my expenses are tanking. All right, my expenses are tanking. My profits are going up. I'm doing very well for myself. You know, it just did kind of suck today. You know, today kind of just sucked. But you know, you live and you learn, and you know, the life is not some magical adventure. There's gonna be hardship. I don't, you know, you just got to deal with it. You know, I just got to deal with it. Everybody just got to deal with it. Life is hard. You know, I don't know how else to put it. All right, you know, losing animals sucks. I mean, you know, and you know, it just is what it is. Okay. And but you know, I did have bad news today. And that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.